the evidence analysis that's going on right now of the abductor's outfit. We've had so many smart armchair sleuths online on X doing their own searches for what is that backpack because it's pretty distinctive. What is that jacket he's wearing? Because that too is kind of distinctive with this horizontal stripe, thin stripe right across the middle, and it may be fleece. And it seems like people have figured out that that backpack may be an Ozark Trail hiker backpack. That it is apparently. Oh, and then by the way, the local reporter, KOLD's Mary Coleman, she's been reporting, and that's one of the organizations that received the alleged ransom note. She reported that indeed a law enforcement source close to the case says they are familiar with this brand of Ozark Trail hiker and they are looking into it. They're looking into other brands as well, but they've got their eyes on this one. And this was one that the online sleuths came up with almost immediately. It's cheap. They sell it at Walmart, including the Walmart in Tucson, the Tucson Walmart Superstore, where you can get it right now for $10.88. So it's cheap. It's $11. And that dovetails pretty well with, I think, every one of your conclusion, which was this was not some super trained hitman, high budget operation. The $11 backpack thing probably jives for you. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'll start with you, James, on it. Thoughts?
Great. It's, technology is wonderful. I just feel for these agents, these officers who are getting, I read last count, like 4,000 leads in 24 hours, because these, as you call them, sleuths are doing all this great work. And, it's awesome, but it's also, that stuff's got to be worked and it takes a while. And there's not like an infinite stream of agents. So it's wonderful, and I think it's great. I agree with you. An $11 backpack from Walmart would be completely in line with the Uncle Mike's crap holster this person was wearing. So that all checks out. But again, these leads have to get run down, and Fitz was talking earlier about 24/7 shifts. Yeah, they're not sleeping. I remember working these, very very few kidnappings I worked, but you didn't go home. It was like all hands on deck till you found this victim. And
But how do
it's
you do it, James? Like, do you go into the Walmart and you say you carry these backpacks? Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly what
Like,
happens.
but then what?
You ask for purchases, you ask for purchase orders, you get a subpoena, you ask for how many of these backpacks were sold, and
They
then you
have all
start.
that?
Oh
Like a
yeah,
place like Walmart would have that, all of that
yes,
recorded?
yes, and then you start looking. Hopefully, as we're going down the road of him not being a pro, would buy it in cash. A pro would buy it with cash. A pro would go to different stores, not buy all the material at the same store, but an amateur probably use a credit card, and that would be a huge break for us if we could get a credit card, and then it's on.
Okay. Then we did take a look just to see if at that same Tucson Walmart they were selling face masks, and we determined that they are not available at that Tucson Walmart. You'd have to get that online. So for whatever it's worth, and I don't know whether that was still the case 3 months ago or whenever, but I mean, it would be. Do you think it would be relatively recent, Will, that they'd be asking Walmart to search? Because like if this guy bought this stuff 5 years ago, Walmart's not going to have that.
Yes, no, I mean, it really does depend on whether he'd had it already in his possession. It was something that he'd been using. But again, that's where it's going to be, on a day-to-day basis. But that's where it's going to be kind of interesting, certainly when they start joining up CCTV from neighborhoods, from various other areas, and to see some sort of lifespan of this individual. Now they've hopefully got some sort of clear identification, certainly on what he was wearing, that they can try and join all these pieces together. As James was saying, it's a jigsaw puzzle, and I would concur that I think this is much more of a non-professional in terms of the individual that's behind it. Buying grey kit, i.e., buying sort of very low cost items, is not unknown for professionals. Professionals will do that to try and evade detection or discovery. However, the one area which James rose, which I think is really important, was the Uncle Mike holster. Now, if it was a professional, I think they would find it incredibly difficult to go into an operation with a sort of nylon holster as basic as that.
Why?
So again,
Explain to
it's the
those
items.
of us who don't know about the holsters why that's so basic and low end.
Well, firstly was the positioning of the weapon. Again, this weapon was overt. It was not concealed, and more often than not, anybody who's used to carrying a firearm will be used to concealed carry, or certainly have sufficiently good quality holsters. Because you only have to use anybody who uses a firearm will know if you have a cheap holster, that's going to wear out, or it's going to let you down in some shape or form. So, again, having that cheap holster indicates that this individual may not necessarily be well practiced or well versed and have had a lifespan of using firearms. Because more often than not, as much as you invest in the weapon, you're also investing in the ancillary and auxiliary equipment that you use with it.
Okay, so pretty much everything about him looks cheap. I mean, we looked it up, and it was like the Luigi backpack that he used
Mhm.
when he killed allegedly the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson. It was like $300. It was
Mm.
high end. He came from a rich family, and we're seeing so far what we believe is the opposite of that, with clothing that didn't look expensive, a backpack that you can get for $11. The ski mask, for what it's worth, retails right now. If you order it today, you can get it between February 20th and February 27th for $3.12. So that's another, low end item that he appears to have used. And if this is the guy, I want to ask you guys for your thoughts on the new videotape that may or may not be related. But before you got here, we talked about how, like, even though there are some apparent differences between the alley guy who's got two backpacks, we've been calling him Pac Man, and the actual abductor, like the actual abductor to us looks a little thicker than Pac-Man, a little like fatter or just stockier in the legs and in the rear end in particular. But who knows? Because Abductor Man could have had a few more layers on. We don't know. But we are told that this video of Pac-Man took place in the wee hours of the morning, we believe post the abduction of Nancy Guthrie, and that it happened 5 miles south of Nancy Guthrie's home. By the way, at least the guy who posted it on X, Nerdy Addict, described this as it was submitted to him as a tip. And the person did also submit it to the FBI. And this person is shown trying, this is the description that he got, to unlock a side gate. To unlock a side gate. I guess I shouldn't say that it happened after Nancy. They say it has no timestamp. We just know, quote, early morning hours of February 1st, which is when she was stolen. So, your thoughts, you guys, on the odds of this being like another criminal potentially in the area with the backpacks in a similar outfit, and we thought we saw a possible weapon in his right hand jacket, his zippered pocket. Maureen was suggesting she thought she saw that. Anyway, not confirmed, but a speculative possibility.
I thought I saw a timestamp. Maybe should play that video again, but I thought I saw a timestamp in the bottom right, and it was saying 1:53 a.m. on February the 1st,
Okay, we'll have to go back and look at that.
which
If that's true, how can he possibly be in two places at one time?
is hard to do. Very, very
Well,
hard
but
to
it
do.
also assumes that the camera was set on the right time.
Correct. And that's an excellent point. And, I've seen so many not set on the exact right time zone. They didn't factor in leap year. It could have been off, and that can easily explain it. It's that's quite a good lead that someone needs to find out who that person is. And he's definitely worth a really strong investigative interview. Um, I think Fitz wanted to comment, but I was laughing when Will was talking about the Uncle Mike thing. I just want to go back to the
Yeah.
holster. So we call it that because that's a very cheap holster that you would usually see like a hunter purchase for a big revolver, and that one right there, yeah, that's for a big revolver, like a 6-inch, 8-inch barrel. And what's happened here is they've stuck a semi-auto, smaller pistol into this thing, and it's so haphazard. It reminds me very much of like where I live, where a lot of people carry what we call open carry, and it's like a cowboy. Like it's insane, and it looks like that. The pistol doesn't match the holster. It's like total amateur hour, and you just kind of, well, most of us, we just kind of laugh about it, and then I leave and get away from them because they're dangerous. Um, but yeah, that's why I was laughing at that.
Just FYI, James, my team is confirming. Yes, it says 1:53 Mountain Standard Time on February 1st, 2026. That's the timestamp on there. And again, now do not I don't trust any of these times at this point. But the sheriff said at 1:47 a.m. the Nest cameras were disconnected at Nancy's, and at 2:12 a.m. they alerted image detected. And he said, could have been a man, could have been an animal, 2:12. Now, TMZ is reporting that it was 2:12 a.m. that the abductor tried to get in, as we saw, or tried to cover up the Nest cam and did all the stuff, the guy with the face mask. That's 2:12 a.m. I haven't confirmed that independently, but that's what TMZ is reporting, that was at 2:12. This is 1:53 Mountain Standard Time. So I don't know, could you, if you take the 147 Ring camera disconnected out of it, which I will say for the record, my team, some of whom have Nest cameras, have told me, whatever, Rings or Nest, that sometimes they go offline and you get that. Sometimes the camera will say offline because whatever, you have an internet hit, etc. In any event, 1:53 to 2:12, what's that? 7, 12, 17 minutes. I don't want to do the math. It's 7 plus 12, which
19
is
minutes.
19. Thank you.
Megan, can I tell you on the
That could be
task
enough
force
time.
on the task force wall, there's a big whiteboard, probably digital, and they have the times exactly lined up what they are. And they've gone back to the Ring company or Nest, whatever. They know. So we can speculate a lot, and this is healthy to do for us to try to piece these items together. But I'm assuming that the investigators themselves know exactly what this is. And then just let me go back a couple minutes here. In the Unabomb case, agents went out to every single junkyard in the country. Now think about that. Trying to find the components of the devices, the IEDs, improvised explosive devices,
Oh
the
my
bombs the
gosh.
Unabomber was sending through the mail. And some of these, certainly in rural areas, some guy just has his backyard and that's a junkyard. But agents wound up tracking down every single, because a lot of people don't know this, but before he was called Unabomb or Unabomber, he was called the junkyard bomber because all the devices were handmade or picked up from loose structures. Then when the manifesto came in and the letters or the bombs were addressed to people, it took them not too long to figure out all that information is coming from the Who's Who book in libraries. This is pre-internet. Remember, as a kid, the biggest book in the library was always Who,
Yeah.
Who's Who's. You couldn't check it out. It was just a reference manual. FBI agents went to every single library in the country trying to get information. Hey, who's coming in? Who's looking at these? Who's paging through them? Looking, here's the composites. Look, anything like this. And interesting, a lot of the university libraries would not help at first. But once a professor got bombed and seriously injured Yale University and other universities, they said, "Oh, FBI, come on back. We think we can help you now."
Wow.
That's just a side story there. But it
That's
just shows
crazy.
you that and that's pre-internet, and that just shows you they'll go in person and do this. And there are agents all over the country now fanning out, looking at these different places where these are sold in an attempt to determine
Well-
the provenance of the mask, backpack, everything we're talking about.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.